Welcome back to Hopeful Horizon, where we bring you real, raw, and unforgettable stories that open eyes and ignite change. Now, imagine this. You walk into a luxury hotel, one you own, and no one recognizes you. Instead of respect, you're met with suspicion. You're overlooked, dismissed, and treated like you don't belong. That's exactly what happens to Carter Jones, a billionaire CEO who decides to walk through the doors of his own hotel in disguise. What starts as a simple visit becomes a powerful expose of bias, favoritism, and the difference between true hospitality and performative service. But what the staff doesn't know is Carter is watching, listening, recording. And what comes next will leave the entire hotel in shock. Stay with us as we unravel a gripping story of hidden truths, unexpected justice, and one man's mission to redefine what respect really means. If you're someone who loves bold stories with powerful lessons and jaw-dropping moments, be sure to comment below, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a life-changing story from Hopeful Horizon. And let us know, where in the world are you listening from? Rain tapped softly against the windshield as Carter Jones sat behind the wheel of his matte black Range Rover, parked in a dimly lit corner of the underground garage. He looked up at the elevator entrance to the Valiant, his gaze steady and unreadable. The Valiant wasn't just any hotel. It was the shining crown jewel of his billion-dollar hospitality empire, a chain of luxury establishments revered worldwide for their elegance, service, and prestige. Yet tonight, Carter wasn't here as the esteemed CEO. His tailored suits and silk ties were replaced with dark jeans, white sneakers, and a plain gray hoodie pulled slightly over his head. His usually clean-shaven face wore a short beard, and his designer watch was left behind. Tonight, he wanted to experience what the average guest, particularly one who looked like him, might face. He stepped out into the garage, his steps confident but unassuming. The smell of polished concrete, engine fumes, and faint perfume lingered in the air. As he entered the elevator, a couple, white, dressed in evening attire, glanced at him and clutched their belongings a little tighter. Carter noticed. He always noticed. The elevator doors opened into the expansive marble lobby of the Valiant. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm golden glow across the space, and the faint scent of lavender and sandalwood perfumed the air. It was luxury personified. At the front desk, Chloe glanced up from her monitor. Blonde, impeccably groomed, and clad in a navy blazer with the hotel crest, pinned proudly to her lapel, she immediately straightened, but her smile didn't reach her eyes when she saw him approach. "Checking in?" she asked, her tone professional but lacking warmth. "Yes, reservation under Michael Carter," Carter replied, using a pseudonym he often employed during undercover evaluations. Chloe typed quickly, her nails clicking against the keyboard. She squinted slightly at the screen. One night. Standard King." "That's correct," Carter confirmed. Her eyes briefly scanned him from head to toe. A flicker of skepticism crossed her face before she forced another tight smile. "We require a credit card and ID," she said. He handed them over silently. As she examined the ID, she leaned slightly toward her colleague, murmuring with a smirk, "Are you sure you can afford this room?" It was quiet, but not quiet enough. Carter heard it. He said nothing. Chloe handed him his card and ID back with a smile so brittle it could shatter. "Here's your room key, 6th floor. No upgrades available at this time." Carter glanced at the couple behind him, who had just stepped up to the counter. They were instantly greeted with glasses of champagne and wide smiles. Chloe called them by name, offered them an upgraded suite, and even arranged for complimentary spa services. Carter turned to head to the elevator, his room key clenched lightly between his fingers. He pulled out his phone and tapped a button, starting a discreet video recording. He hadn't expected this level of brazenness, but he wasn't angry. He was intrigued. The morning sun spilled through the expansive windows of the Valiant's 6th floor hallway as Carter stepped out of his room, phone in hand, notes already filling the screen. The plush carpet muffled his footsteps as he made his way toward the elevator. Downstairs, the lobby bustled with activity. Carter watched as well-dressed patrons were fawned over by the front desk team. Chloe, in particular, laughed with guests, her voice syrupy sweet, her demeanor glowing with charm. until her eyes landed on Carter again. The glow dimmed. He made his way to the hotel's restaurant, the Monarch. With its floor-to-ceiling windows, grand piano, and chandeliers, it catered to the city's elite. Carter walked in and waited to be greeted. He waited. Finally, a waiter named Jordan approached, his smile tight. "We're full at the moment, sir." Carter glanced around. Several tables were clearly unoccupied. "I made a reservation last night," Carter said calmly. Jordan frowned, pulled out a tablet, and barely glanced at it. I don't see anything here." Carter raised an eyebrow. "Perhaps check under Michael Carter." Jordan huffed and called over the restaurant manager, a tall, wiry man with silver hair and tired eyes. "He says he has a reservation," Jordan whispered. The manager approached Carter and looked him over, his eyes pausing on Carter's hoodie and sneakers. "I can seat you by the kitchen." Carter smiled politely. "That'll be fine." He sat, ordered a basic breakfast, and quietly documented the interaction. His phone rested beside his napkin, recording everything. Throughout the morning, Carter moved through the hotel, the spa, the rooftop bar, the conference area. He observed, watched how the cleaning crew greeted everyone with a warm smile, how the bellhop, a young Latino man named Diego, offered help without judgment. He tipped well and asked questions, careful to make note of those who treated every guest with dignity. In a service hallway, Carter overheard Chloe's voice drifting from the staff break room. "He walked in here like he owns the place. Hoodie and sneakers like this is a motel. I don't care how much money people have. You can tell who doesn't belong." Another voice laughed. Carter stepped past the door just as it opened, Chloe emerging mid-laugh. Her smile vanished when she saw him. For a moment, her confidence faltered. Then she flipped her hair and walked past him without a word. Back in his room, Carter transferred the day's recordings and notes to a secure cloud folder. He sat on the edge of the king-size bed, staring at the city skyline beyond the window. He had built this empire from the ground up. He had scrubbed toilets as a teenager, worked double shifts at restaurants, been overlooked, underestimated, and spoken down to his entire life. But never again. The staff meeting was scheduled for the next morning, and Carter Jones was ready to speak. The morning sun spilled golden rays through the expansive windows of the Valiant's grand ballroom. The chandeliers glittered in the light, casting star-shaped patterns on the polished floors. A hush hung in the air as dozens of employees, concierge attendants, waitstaff, housekeepers, and upper-level managers filled the rows of cushioned seats. A banner hanging over the stage read, "Staff Unity Meeting, 8 a.m. sharp." It was out of the ordinary, unannounced, and triggered a buzz of speculation. "You think it's another diversity training thing?" one of the concierge staff whispered to her colleague. "Nah, I heard a rumor the owner's showing up," the colleague replied, eyes scanning the stage. Chloe sat 3 rows from the front, legs crossed, flipping her freshly ironed hair over her shoulder. She wore a sleek blazer and designer pumps, visibly confident. "Whoever it is, I hope they're not wasting my time," she murmured. Suddenly, the ballroom lights dimmed. A soft, instrumental melody played as a suited man stepped up to the podium. For a moment, no one moved. Then recognition hit. The man standing in front of them wasn't a stranger. It was the same man Chloe had brushed off at the front desk, the one she'd told to wait, the one she'd whispered about to her coworker, the man who dined near the kitchen last night in jeans and sneakers, Carter Jones. There was a sharp intake of breath throughout the room. Chloe's smile evaporated. Her posture stiffened. Her face turned the color of fresh porcelain. Carter adjusted the microphone, calm, composed. "Good morning," he began, his voice steady, echoing slightly across the room. "My name is Carter Jones. I am the founder and CEO of the Valiant Hotel Group. For the past 24 hours, I've been staying here at this very hotel, not as your CEO, but as a guest." Whispers turned to stunned silence. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small remote, and pointed it at the projection screen behind him. "I want to show you something." The screen flickered to life. The first clip showed Carter walking up to the front desk. Chloe looked up, barely hiding her disdain. The audio was crystal clear. "Are you sure you can afford this room?" Gasps. Another clip played, Carter standing at the restaurant entrance. a waiter shaking his head. "We're full." Then the manager's cold reply, "We can seat you by the kitchen." Then finally, footage of Chloe again, laughing with another front desk agent. Her voice echoed, "Some people walk in here thinking money makes them belong." When the screen went black, the silence was deafening. Chloe's hands trembled. She opened her mouth to speak, but Carter raised a hand. "I'm not here to embarrass anyone," he said, looking around the room. "I'm here to hold us accountable, because what happened to me wasn't just an insult to me, it was an insult to every guest who might not look the part." He looked directly at Chloe. "You didn't just disrespect a man. You disrespected every person who doesn't walk through that door in designer labels. Every person who isn't what you think luxury looks like." Her mouth quivered. She sat frozen. Carter stepped back from the podium. "We say the Valiant is more than a hotel. It's an experience rooted in class, dignity, and inclusion. But those are just words until we put them into action." He walked off the stage, leaving a stunned room behind him. The ballroom buzzed as Carter stood off to the side, watching reactions unfold like dominoes. Some employees avoided eye contact, while others, especially those who had been respectful, stood a little taller. He stepped back onto the stage with purpose, holding a folder in his hand. "I'd like to call up a few people," he said. Diego, the young bellhop who had helped Carter carry his bags without hesitation, was the first name called. He blinked, unsure, then walked toward the stage. "Diego treated me like a VIP from the moment I walked through the door," Carter said. "He didn't know who I was. He just knew how to treat people, with respect." Applause. Diego's eyes glistened as Carter handed him an envelope and shook his hand. "Inside is a bonus, and effective immediately, you're promoted to lead concierge." The room erupted. Next, Carter called up Rosa, one of the older housekeeping staff. Her hands were worn, but her spirit had shone when she greeted Carter with a smile every time she saw him in the hallways. Rosa takes pride in every room she touches. She asked if I needed extra towels before I could even ask. That's service. That's heart. She received a bonus and an extra week of paid vacation. Then came Malik, the night shift security guard who helped Carter find his way to the elevator when he first checked in. Malik treated me with dignity when no one else did. That says a lot about a person. He received a promotion to security supervisor and a scholarship fund for professional development. Then, silence again. Carter's expression hardened as he turned his attention to Chloe. "Chloe." She looked up slowly. Her voice cracked as she stood. "Mr. Jones, I didn't know who you were. If I had—" "That's exactly the problem," he interrupted. "A pin could have dropped. Kindness shouldn't be reserved for who you think matters. It should be extended to everyone. You had an opportunity to be that kind of person, and you failed." Her eyes welled up. "Please, I've worked here for 5 years. I made a mistake. Just give me one more chance." Carter stepped down from the stage, walking toward her slowly. "You had one," he said softly. "It started the moment I walked through that door." She broke into tears, but he turned away. "You're officially terminated, effective immediately. Human Resources will guide you through the exit process." The HR director quietly approached, gesturing for Chloe to follow. She hesitated, then walked away, head bowed. Carter returned to the podium one last time. "We're installing a new plaque at the front desk today," he announced. "It reads, 'Every guest is royalty. Treat them as such.'" He paused, letting it sink in. "This hotel will not just be known for its chandeliers or fine dining. It will be known for its compassion, its humanity, its example." As he stepped off the stage for good, the ballroom stood and clapped, not out of fear or formality, but respect. Later that day, Carter exited the staff elevators dressed sharply in a navy suit and crisp tie. He walked past the front desk, the same lobby, the same polished floor. But this time, every staff member stood straighter, smiles more genuine, eyes filled with something different, awareness. As he approached the front desk, he noticed the new sign already installed, polished and gleaming. "Every guest is royalty. Treat them as such." Carter gave a subtle nod to the new desk clerk, who greeted him with a warm, practiced smile. "Welcome to the Valiant, sir. How may I assist you today?" He smiled back. "Just checking in." And with that, he walked away, leaving behind a legacy reshaped and a culture forever changed. Thank you for joining us on this unforgettable journey of identity, humility, and justice. Carter's story reminds us that appearances can be deceiving, and the way we treat others, especially when we think no one's watching, speaks volumes about who we are. It's not about titles or designer clothes. It's about human decency, kindness, and respect, values that should never come with conditions. If this story resonated with you, inspired you, or made you reflect on the power of humility and accountability, we want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let us know what you thought. Tell us where you're listening from, and if you found this meaningful, share it with someone else who needs to hear it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, tap the bell, and stay connected with us here at Hopeful Horizon, where stories challenge, inspire, and bring hope to life. Until next time, stay kind, stay aware, and always remember, the way you treat others matters.